First one, we are going to understand the fundamentals function of the integrated circuits. Second is we're going to grasp the core purpose of a power supply. The third one, we are going to recognize the critical relationship between the ICs and the power supply regulation. And the last objective is that we're going to differentiate the primary stages of a linear power supply. So, ano ba si integrated circuit? So, na-discuss natin before, the transistor, resistor, yung mga capacitor na meron. So, kapag pinagsama-sama po natin siya sa isang breadboard o sa isang board, yun na po, si integrated circuit. So, yun na yun, tapos na. So, kidding aside, integrated circuit class is magkaroon tayo ng pre-IC history regarding the integrated circuit. The age of the discrete components no around 1900s to 1950s. It start by setting the scene for what electronics look like before the IC. So yung component problem niya is that the early electronics use a large, hot, unreliable vacuum tubes. So napakalalaki ng vacuum tubes before. So na-discuss natin rin yun nun. And later, individual transistor, resistor, and capacitor as separate discrete components, ika nga. So nung unang panahon, magkakabukod yun. So, bulky kasi. So, ang analogy niya, class, imagine, we are building a car engine, yung car engine na yun, where every single piston or yung bulb na meron doon, or even yung mga spark plug, was separate, was separate part you had to buy. So, yung iba-iba yung wire, yung solder. So, isa-solder nyo yon by hand. So, parang yun yung sa integrated circuit. So, pinagsasama-sama natin lahat yung mga parts. So, the assembly problem is that to make a circuit like a radio or an early computer, we had to manually connect every single one of these components with individual wires on a large circuit board. So yun yung naisabihin ni integrated circuits. The result is that the circuits were huge, slow, unreliable, expensive kapag nung unang panahon. So itong dinidiscuss ko is yung pre-IC problem pa natin on. So yung circuit malaki kahit sila ay pagsama-samahin, mabagal, unreliable, and masyadong mahal. So the invention of the integrated circuit breakthrough was realizing that all the necessary components could be made from the same single piece of materials. Yung a semiconductor like silicon. So, and also yung wired together on the chip itself, not with the external wires. So, yung co-inventor ng IC was developed almost simultaneously and independently by two people who solved different key problems. So, kilala nyo to. First one is si Jack Kilby. Si Jack Kilby po, siya ay nakatira sa Texas, no? So, kilala ko siya. Matalik din nating kaibigan. So, noong 1958, he built the first working prototype, a hybrid IC. Anong ginagamit niya? Using germanium. Po? So, he was proving that this IC could make all the resistor, capacitor, and transistor out of a one block of material. So his conceptual contribution was the idea of the integration itself. So sino po yung pangalawa? Ang pangalawa po ay si Robert Noyce sa Fairchild Semiconductor. Si Robert Noyce rin po ay co-founder rin po ng what do you call this? The Intel. Po? So he developed class the first practical mass producible IC. Ano po yun? Yun yung monolithic IC using a silicon. So, class, he figured out that it is a crucial step. Why? Because it is explain how they properly isolate the components and connect them reliably using a thin layer of metal. Ano pong tawag dun sa pagko-connect ng thin layer of metal? It is called the metallization. So it is yeah, metallization on top of the silicon. So his conceptual contribution class was the modern planar manufacturing process. So we can see here also on our screen yung ENIAC. So ano po yung ENIAC? ENIAC class stands for what do you call this? The Electronic Numerical Integrator and Computer. So si ENIAC po was the world's first programmable general purpose electronic digital computer. So saan po siya na-develop? It developed at the University of Pennsylvania and completed noong 1945. So kaya ko po alam because nagmasteral po ako dun sa university yun. Ano? Dun sa University ng Pennsylvania. Ano? It was also initially designed class to calculate yung mga artillery firing tables for the US military at that time. So napakalaki noon class because it was a massive machine made over gano nga yung kalaki 17,000 vacuum tubes, ganon karami. Ano, filled an entire room and weigh 30 tons, ganon kabigat siya. So yun po yung ENIAC at that time, ganon kalaki. No, bago pa nagkaroon tayo ng IC na ngayon ay napakaliliit na ano. So sir, dinidiscuss nyo yan katulad ni Jack Kilby, si Robert Noyce, nakapag-introduce, nakapag-invent ng integrated circuit sa ibang lugar, like Texas. Para naman po sa Pilipinas, sir, sino naman po ang naka-invent ng microchip in the Philippines? So kung kilala nyo, one of my matalik kong kaibigan, kung kilala nyo po si Diosdado Banatao, Diosdado Banatao class is the man behind the amazing invention in technology. Bakit po? He invented class the 16-bit microchip that allowed computer to use graphic instead just type commands. He was the one who invented the 16-bit microchip in the Philippines. How amazing, di ba? So, this small, incredible invention class brought a huge advancement to our tech world. So, napakagaling ni Diosdado Banatao. So, ano pong significance nito? So, the significance is that yung IC or tinatawag nating microchip class meant an entire complex circuit could be created in a single manufacturing step, making it miniature, reliable, fast, and even cheaper. So, ang nais mong sabihin, ang integrated circuit po, sa patuloy na pagdaan ng panahon class, naliit siya. So, madidiscuss pa natin yan through the exponential evolution. So, yung exponential evolution class is that ginamitan po ng Moore's Law. So, I think siguro na-discuss na sa inyo yung Moore's Law. So, yung Moore's Law class, once the technology was established, its development was driven by a single powerful trend, which is called the miniaturization. Yung observation noong 1965 through Gordon Moore, So, si Gordon Moore po ay co-founder ng Intel. Co-founder din po siya ng Intel. He observed class that the number of the transistor na meron that could fit on the chip class seems to be double every 2 years. So, di ba? Ang galing. So, naisip niya yun, Na-observe ni Gordon Moore na sa every 2 years daw, dumodoble yung pagdami ng transistor sa isang chip. While the cost stays the same. Walang pagkakaiba sa cost. Pero dumadami yung transistor na ginagamit kapag naging lalong high-tech yung isang gadget. So, this observation became known as the Moore's Law. So, the conceptual impact is that the Moore's Law is not a physical law class, but an economic and engineering driving force. Because it set the target for the industry what do you call this? To constantly shrink. Ano po? So, discuss natin dito also yung progression ng density through a conceptual stages. Ano po yun? Yun po yung mga SSI, MSI. So, pag sinabi natin class na SSI, it is a small scale integration. So, kaya small scale integration or the SSI class, ginagamitan ng transistor nito, mga tens of transistor used for a simple logic gates. Ano naman po sir si MSI? MSI class is a medium scale integration. So, hundreds of transistors naman ang meron dito. Saan po siya ginagamit? It is used for counters and yung mga registers na meron. Sa mga RAM, ROM, yan. So, ano po si LSI po? Si LSI po is a large scale integration. So, ano naman po siya? Thousands of transistors naman po are embedded. So, it led class to the first simple calculators through the large scale integration. Kailan po ito nangyari? Around 1970s. Si SSI class and MSI around 1960s. Meron pa po, dalawa pa po. Ang isa pa po is VLSI, which is the very large scale integration. Hundreds of thousands to millions of transistors are embedded to the integrated circuit. So, through the VLSI class, yung very large scale integration, around 1980s na to class, it lead class to the microprocessor itself. Like yung mga Intel 4004 na meron noong 1971, wherein we are this microprocessor class putting an entire computer CPU on a single chip. Ganun ka-powerful yung very large scale integration through the progression density and through the progression density or what you call the conceptual stages na meron. So last po is we call this as ULSI or GSI. Ultra or Giga Scale Integration. Around 1990s na to class. So billions of transistors naman ang meron dito. Wherein it enable the modern CPUs, GPUs, and smartphone chips na meron. So, dyan na rin po yung mga satellites. So, speaking of what you call this, the GPU, pinag-usapan rin namin regarding sa biomedical engineering, si GPU because of the signals na binibigay. So, dati kasi class, si GPU kasi ay what do you call this? Direct lang, hindi siya analog. So kung ano lang binibigay, almost 31 satellites revolving the Earth class, nagbibigay siya ng signals. So pag nagbigay signals, direct lang. So ngayon po, high-tech na, naging analog na. So iba po kasi yung time dito at iba yung time doon. So, it is called, what do you call this? The law of, may tawag doon eh. Nakalimutan ko. Mamaya, alalahanin ko. Kalimutan ko yung law na yun eh. Because, kaya ko siya na-discuss is that yung GPU niya, dahil GPU kasi, iba kasi noon, yung paggamit ng GPU at iba rin yung paggamit ng GPU ngayon. So, parang noon kasi, pag maghahanap ka ng location, bago pa mapapadala dito. So, ngayon kasi, pag nag-search ka sa internet, nasan po ang Cavite, gusto nyo makita yung location agad, ibibigay agad sa yung internet. So, ganun ka-high-tech na ngayon. Through also the integrated circuits embedded to that satellites. So, the result today is that a chip
smaller than your fingernails now holds a billions of transistors. So, yun lang ang naisabihin. So, yung mga chip na meron sa atin, mga microchip, na mas maliliit pa sa inyong mga kuko, holds billions of transistors. Yes, ano po yun? Sorry.
Napindot po, sir.
Ayan, sorry. Okay, kala ko kasi may problem. Ah, so, yun lang na sabihin, wherein it offers more processing power than world's most powerful computer from the 1970s. So, this ongoing miniaturization class is the fundamental reason for your smartphones, yung mga internet na meron sa atin, and also all modern digital technology. So, napaka-powerful po na integrated circuits. Napaka-powerful ng electronics. So, hindi gagana ang isang bagay kung walang electronics. So, kahit sabihin ng lahat, nandiyan pa rin talaga tayo. Aerospace, dahil may electronics involvement. So, additional information, class. Did you know, class, na yung smallest features on the most advanced microchip today are measured in nanometers. Ganun kaliit. Sir, parang nyo naman nasabing ganun kaliit? Because a typical modern transistor class can have featured just a few nanometers in size. For comparison, class, a human red blood cell is about 7,000 nanometers across. So, ano pong nais ko sabihin? So, si transistor ngayon po ay sobrang liit na. Around, kung nasa-search nyo siya sa Google, nasa 6 nanometers ata. So, around, nasa 1 nanometer to 10 nanometers. So, gano'n po siya kaliit kung ang sand class ay 1 millimeters. Ang pollen, yung nakikita nyo sa mga, sa mga flower, 100 micrometer yung size. Yung red blood cells, kung makikita nyo siya sa isang microscope, yung ginagamit natin, 10 micrometer. Kung yung bacteria, kaya mo makita, around 1 micrometer yon. Yung virus, kapag may nakikita, pag kaya nyo makita yung virus, class, around 100 nanometer siya. So, si transistor po, gano'ng kaliit? Around 1 nanometer to 10 nanometer. It means, mas maliit pa po sa virus. Amazing, di ba? Ay, sabihin pala, sir, yung mga transistor, nasabi niyo before, na nakikita namin, na ginagamit namin sa laboratory, yung palang mas modern ngayon, mas maliit pa pala po doon. Yes. Ano po? Exactly. Ano po? Because, ika nga, the smallest feature ngayon ng most advanced microchip today are measured in nanometers. Microchips na pala. Sorry. So, tama. Dahil ang transistor kasi embedded to the microchip. So, I think, yung microchip, maliit na. However, yung mga embedded pa doon itself, no? Na mga transistors. So, kaya ganon. So, and also, um, wag niyong kakalimutan, class, yung Moore's law. Napaka-importante niya. Because it states also the number of the transistors on a microchip will approximately double every 2 years. So, ibig sabihin, around 2027 or 2028, dodoble na po uli ang transistor na ginagamit. Isang microchip po. So, pa-advance ng pa-advance. Hanggang sa lumit na ng lumit yung microchip na meron sa atin. Alam niyo yung sa Dragon Ball class, yung capsule, no? Pag binabato yung capsule, nagiging bahay. O kaya nagiging sasakyan. Gano'n. Ganun, malam mo, ganun ang technology sa susunod na generation. Dahil paliit yung microchip na hindi na natin kayang makita ng ating naked eye. Napaka-powerful. Napaka-amazing. So next, we have the advantage and disadvantage of the IC technology. But for now, we are going to discuss first the advantage of the IC technology. Ano? First one is the compactness. So, sir, I want to explain why integrated circuit technology isn't just an, what do you call this, the evolutionary step in electronics. It's also the foundation of our modern world, wherein every advantage we see in electronics class, from your phone's speed to its battery life, stems directly from two core capabilities, which is the extreme miniaturization and highly controlled mass production. So, let me break down the six most critical advantage ng ICs for you. First one is the compactness. Si compactness po, it is the miniaturization and integration itself. Ano? It is the first and most obvious advantage ng meron ang isang IC technology, which is the compactness. Think about class, the electronics of 50 years ago. Why? Because they were huge. Napakalaki. So I can tell you that the power IC lies in integration, wherein it is the process of putting billions of components. Like yung mga transistor na meron, yung resistor, onto a single or tiny chip na meron sa atin. So meaning, this allows us to move from circuits built on massive circuit boards to a single system on a chip, or yung SoC, system on a chip. So class, this isn't just a reduction in size. It's a fundamental shift that enable the portability. So it's why you can carry a supercomputer in your pocket today, instead of needing a room-sized machine to do the same job. So ang example niya, class, is that the development ng smartphones or yung mga wearable devices, like yung mga smartwatches nyo, class, would be physically impossible without the extreme miniaturization provided by the integrated circuits. So yun yung isang advantage ng IC technology, yung compactness niya. Next one, class, is the high speed. So high speed, class, it reduce the signal propagation delay. So ano mo nais yung sabihin, class? I want to talk about the high speed. So this is a direct consequence, class, of the IC's small size. In an electronic system, class, its speed is limited by how long it takes for a signal to travel from one component to another. So ano pong tawag po doon? This is called the signal propagation delay, wherein we are placing the transistor only micrometers apart. So I can practically say that it eliminates this delay. So ano po yung result? So the result is our circuit can switch on and off at incredibly speeds, reaching about mga gigahertz frequencies. Ano? So this is what allows us to perform real-time computing. Even yung pag-handle natin ng mga massive data sets quickly, and yung mga pagpapower natin ng most demanding applications, like yung mga AI, artificial intelligence, and yung mga ginagawa yung advanced gaming. Ano? So ganon ka-high speed at advantage siya ng IC technology. So, sir, magbigay kayo ng example. For the example, kunyari, we're enabling the real-time application, like yung mga 4K video streaming nyo. Kunyari kayo ay nag-stream, okay, yung complex video games na nilalaro nyo, or yung mga ginagamitan nyo ng AI, o kay mga machine learning processing. So it requires, class, billions of operation per second with minimal delay. So, kumbaga, kakaunti yung naging distortion, yung noise na tinatawag natin, dahil isa rin sa advantage ng IC technology, yung high speed niya. Next po is low power consumption. So, kapag sinabi natin class na low power consumption po, it is a advantage that critical for both your battery life and also yung environment na meron, yung ginagalawan natin. Because the components within an IC are so small, di ba? So they require class significantly less voltage to operate effectively. So we can reduce class the power dissipated because the power is proportional saan po? Sa square of the voltage. Di ba? Yun yung may anong tayo dyan eh. P is proportional to V squared. So by dropping class yung voltage just a little bit, kunyari, drop natin, we get a huge reduction in every consumption na meron. So class, this is not only extend our phone's battery life for days, but also drastically reduces the thermal load or yung heat na binibigay. So, less heat class means fewer cooling fans and more reliable system overload. Ano po? Ulitin ko, less heat siya, meaning po, fewer po yung kanyang mga cooling fans na ginagamit and reliable yung systems overall. Ano po? So, for example, where allows laptop and tablets to run for many hours on a single charge. And also, it eliminate class yung need natin for large and noisy cooling fans in my electronic devices na meron. So, yung pong nasabihin ng lower power consumption. So, the fourth one class po is that reliability itself. So, yun yung integrated interconnections na meron. Class, when it comes to reliability, ICs are superior because we are eliminated the weakest link in all circuits. Meaning, yun yung solder point na meron. So, in traditional circuits na meron sa atin, yung every connection is a potential point of a failure. In an IC yun, ha? So every component class and every interconnection pathway is formed simultaneously on a single or clean crystal substrate na embedded dun sa IC technology. So then we are seal this entire structure in a protective package. So this monolithic class, yung monolithic design ng kay Robert Noyce, this monolithic design makes yung IC virtually immune sa mga mechanical stress, corrosion, vibration na meron. So by drastically increasing yung mean time to failure, kung maano yun, yung MTTF, the mean time to failure class, we can create the electronics reliably enough for use in a life-saving medical devices and critical aerospace systems na magagawa natin. So for example, essential for mission-critical system like yung mga medical implants sa amin, sa biomedical engineering. Tinuturo ko, sa medical implants, yung pacemakers and automotive electronics class, yung mga airbags deployment system sa mga kotse, where failure is not an option. So, automatic na gumagana. Reliable siya. So, minsan kasi, I don't know, may mga nababalita kasi, kunwari, na nagkaroon ng collision between the two cars, hindi gumagana yung airbag. Siguro may defect yung sensors na embedded to that car or siguro hindi ganon. Minsan kasi yung collision, hindi ganon ka-impactful yung pagkaka-collided nila. So, kaya siguro hindi nagta-turn on yung airbag na meron. So, pero ang naisabihin ni advantage ng IC technology class, reliable siya, reliable yung IC technology na meron. So the fifth one, class, is the price. So class, for your discretion, this topic, the IC and the power supply are purely conceptual. Wala naman tayong di-discuss dito na formula. Sabi nung iba, yes, walang formula. So, purely conceptual po ang ating IC and the power supply. So, the fifth one, we have the price. So, this price is the economy of a scale and automation. So, meaning, the reason for electronics are so affordable today is the advantage of a low price effectiveness or the cost effectiveness itself, which comes from economy of scale. Yes, because building a chip factory class is incredibly expensive, di ba? But the cost per individual circuit function becomes negligible. Once, kunwari, mapinish yung initial design and setup, yung fabrication process, which uses highly automated photolithography, tinatawag, wherein it allows class to produce millions or even billions na mga identical chips from a single silicon chip na meron. So for example, class, low cost of a logic gates, mura yung mga logic gates or yung mga simple microcontrollers, has made smart features common in everyday home appliances like yung mga toasters, washing machines, mga low-cost toys na meron, yung mga mumurahing drones, hindi pa ganun ka-high-tech. Yung nabibili lang sa Shopee. Low-cost yung ginamit na mga, kumbaga simple microcontrollers lang yung ginamit doon. So last, for the advantage of the IC technology, we have the modular construction. The modular construction class is the design simplification. So we are going to highlight the modular construction. This means, class, that we can integrate almost all the necessary functions. Yung CPU, yung memory controller, yung wireless modem na meron on a one single verified package. Kung tinatawag kasi class to, yung tinatawag na system on a chip, yun yung SoC. So class, this approach is a massive advantage sa mga any engineering designs kapag mag-design sila ng mga new product. They are no longer have to spend the months trying to make a dozen separate components work together. They just plug in yung single pre-tested module na meron. This is dramatically class simplifies yung design cycle. And also, class, it reduces class yung mga potential errors. It allows yung companies to bring the cutting-edge products to the market much faster because of the modular construction. Sir, hindi ko pa maintindihan. Ang nais lang sabihin, class, for example, yung a single smart TV na system on a chip can handle yung mga video decoding, operating system, connectivity, allowing TV manufacturing to focus on the display itself, yung mga cabinet design, rather sa pagde-develop ng underlying electronic circuits. So, yun po yung modular constructions. Kaya advantage din siya ng IC technology. So, next, we have the limitations of the IC technology. We have 5 limitations. So, first one, we have the impracticality of inductors and transformers. Transformers to. Naging transformers na. Lutang na. Transformers. So, I can tell you, class, right now that it is nearly impossible to integrate significant inductors or transformers onto a single chip. Kaya lang po nating mag-integrate sa isang single chip na mga capacitors, ng mga resistors, transistors. Pero class, hindi natin kayang isama sa single chip, napaka-imposible mag-integrate ng napakadaming inductors or transformer into a single chip. Because inductance class is proportional size of a coil. Pag nakakita kayo ng coil, alam nyo ba yung coil? Yung paikot, parang wire na paikot na parang ano bang gamit minsan doon? Hindi naman siya parang bronze at I think, oo. So, kapag nakita ko yung coil, ganun class. Because yung inductance class is proportional size sa isang coil. And yung number ng turns it also. Mga microhenry yun. So, to get the microhenry values class, needed yung mga filtering na meron. Kung sa amin sa electronics, meron kaming radio frequency circuits. So, class, yung component would have to be microscopic, taking a massive, unacceptable amount of chip area. Space is most expensive resource ng wafer. So, furthermore, class, ang significant indicator generates a strong magnetic field. Ano po? So, wait lang po. 5-minute break.
Okay, let's continue. I'm so sorry. Nagkaroon lang ng break. Ano. Let's continue. So, nasa na ba tayo? So, we are done with the impracticality of inductors and transformers. We are going to proceed to the unsuitable for very high power and voltage. Bakit po naging unsuitable for very high power and voltage? Because IC technology class is fundamentally low power and low voltage. Ah, kaya pala po siya. So, low voltage and low power po si IC. So, our transistor class are designed to be miniature and operate class on a just a few volts. Sir, gaano po kaliit? Like mga 1.2 volts or 3.3 volts. Ano po? So, it conserve class yung energy. It minimize heat. Ano po? So, however class, handling high current or high voltage possesses a major challenge. High power class generates intense heat, and our tiny high density chips class simply can't dissipate the heat without literally melting or failing. That's why, for high voltage naman po, yung microscopic insulation layer inside the IC are too thin and weak, leading po sa isang dielectric breakdown if the voltage class exceed yung small threshold na meron. So example po, you you will never see class a fully integrated IC that directly drives a large electric motor, power pool, audio speaker, yung mga high power applications, or one that switches yung mga merong 240 volts AC line, yung mga high voltage application. We always use class yung IC for the low power control signals. But then, we use large discrete power MOSFETs or IGPETs para mag-handle ng mga heavy lifting regarding sa very high power and high current na meron. So, unsuitable po for IC technology. So, limitation niya yun. Ano? The third one is that it is poor components, tolerance, and matching. So, one challenge class I can say is that I constantly face yung poor components and tolerance matching. Constantly face sa mga IC fabrication processes which rely class on a diffusion or yung ion implantation na tinatawag. Wherein it don't allow us para na mag-create ng discrete component with extremely precise or absolute values na naibibigay. While we can achieve the excellent ratios between the components on the same chip na tinatawag nating device matching, the absolute value ng isang resistor or capacitor might have a 20% percentage tolerance, which is unacceptable po for precision analog circuits. So this lack of precision class often comes from the manufacturing variations across the microchip or the chip itself. So example, if I need class yung precision voltage reference at exactly 1.3, mga ganun, 1.3 volts, a common requirement, no. I can't rely class on a simple on a chip resistor divider circuit. So instead, I have to use the highly stable external or precision resistor with around mga 1% or better tolerance. Or also, I can rely on the specialized complex internal circuit techniques like yung band gap references kung kayo ay nag-advance or nagbabasa-basa. So, band gap references para ma-achieve po yung stability na meron. So, limitation niya po yun. Poor yung components niya regarding sa tolerance at sa pagmamatching. So, the fourth one po is highly initial development cost and time. While class yung production, cost per chip is low, yeah, the cost to develop a new IC is enormous. Kapag tayo ay magdi-design class ng cutting-edge chip, we require billions of dollars in a capital expenditure for a new fabrication facility. And hundreds of millions also of dollars for the initial photomask set. So, dami na nang magagastos. For you, class, this means if you want to create a custom specialized IC, the non-recurring engineering cost, the cost before you sell a single chip is prohibitive unless you anticipate selling millions of units. Ganun po. Napaka-high ang mag-develop ng isang IC. Yes, sabihin natin, sir, madali naman mag-develop ng IC. Okay. Pero, mahal, madaling, what do you call this? Madaling mag-design ng IC pero mahal mag-develop ng IC. Parang ganon. Ano? Example niya is, kunwari, example. A small company class or university na meron. University research team can easily develop an electronic circuit using off-the-shelf discrete components. However, class, designing a specialized application-specific integrated circuit is only feasible for tech giants like Apple or Nvidia because only they can justify the upfront investment na meron na needed para ma-fabricate yung chips at the latest process nodes. So, yun po ang naisabihin. Kaya limitation din siya ng IC technology. So, the last one for this is that limited yung repairability niya. The incredibly integration class gives us all the advantage, also brings the limitation of the limited repairability. Because po, if we, class, are working with microscopic components, sealed with a single monolithic package, if even one transistor or connection fails, class, inside yung chip, the entire IC class must be discarded and replaced. So we can simply say that kapag inopen natin yung IC class, nahanap natin yung faulty resistor, and sinolder natin ng new one, ng bago, the whole concept of failed repair becomes impossible. Hindi pwede. So for example, if a component fails on a traditional printed circuit board, yung mga PCB na meron, a technician, kunyari ako, I can solder to replace a discrete transistor. If the CPU in our laptop fails, we have to replace the entire chip or sometimes even the entire main board because yung IC po is a singular at unrepairable unit. So limitation po siya ng IC technology. Hindi po kapag may nakita tayo sa loob, kunyari, technician, ACT ako, ACT license rin ako, nagkukutingting ako, tinitingnan ko, naghihinang ako. Hindi pwede pag may nasira dun sa chip class at may kulang na isang transistor, at dadagdagan ko, gagana yon. Hindi po. Unrepairable po yung mismong IC. Pag may nasira dun, class, sira na entirety. So, yun po ang isa sa limitation ng isang IC technology. Because limited repairability. So, meaning, throwaway nature. Pag may nasira, tapon agad. Ano po? So, next one, categorization by circuit type or the internal function na meron. So, meron tayo class different integrated circuits. So, sabi ko nga, categorization by circuit type, meron tayong different integrated circuits. So, madami siya. Yan yun. So, 1, 2, 4, 6 siya. Pero, ang i-discuss lang natin yung main, the analog IC, the digital, and the mixed signal IC. So, the digital IC po are the workhorse of a computation. Because, siya po yung gamit na gamit. Ano po?
So, kunyari, nag-design tayo to process a signal that exists only into two discrete states. Ano po yun? Yun yung high and low. Sa logic po natin, yun po yung 1 and 0. So, the core components po are transistors. So, primarily class, yung ginagamit natin, MOSFETs, di ba? Sa mga modern chips, MOSFETs. So, yung function is strictly as on-off switches. Kaya gamit na gamit. So, hindi complex. The performance metric class focus on most is
Integration density and switching speed.
So, in terms of the history class, yung evolution ng digital integrated circuits, the DIC. So, the earliest digital IC class is appeared in the late 1950s. Early 1960s siya. As the SSI. Ano po yung SSI? Yun yung small scale integration, containing just a handful of transistors to create the basic logic ng AND or not. Kung alam niyo yung mga basic logic, so kung may subject ba kayong about sa logic gates, sa codes ata yun, under rin yata yun ng sana yun na electronic system and design din ata. So, kung alam niyo yun, or kung pag-aaralan niyo pa yun yung mga basic logic gates na meron. Yung AND, or not. So, yung series na 7400 series of a transistor logic, yung TTL, developed class siya ng around late 60s, 1960s. So, in-standardize po yung logic function at naging industry's first true catalog of a digital chips. So, class, rapidly evolved siya into a LSI, yung mga large-scale integration noong 1970s, which led class sa mga first microprocessors. And today, we are the era of the ultra-large-scale integration, yung ULSI. So, which is defined by packing billions of transistors onto a single silicon die, constantly class pushing yung limit through as the Moore's law. Ano pa? So, sa technical example niya, yung modern microprocessor, yung CPU, is the ultimate digital IC. Sir, yun pala yun. Sa mga modern microprocessor, yung CPU natin, the ultimate digital IC. Its entire function is based saan po? Sa complex Boolean algebra. Kung alam nyo rin yun, yung Boolean algebra na po. Nagpa-perform siya at gigahertz speeds, requiring sa mga precise controls over every timing signal, yung mga clock. So, mapag-aaralan natin later on yung 555 timer IC. So, yun rin yung magiging laboratory nyo, yung 555 timer IC. So, napakaganda niya. So napaka-amazing din. So, next one, we have the analog integrated circuits. So, si analog po ay connection to the physical world. Why? Because we designed this chip to handle the continuous signals that very smoothly over time. It represents class yung real-world phenomena like yung sound waves, temperature, o yung mga radio signals. Instead of using transistor as simple switches, ginagamit po yung active or linear region ng isang analog IC to provide yung function like yung voltage amplification, current steering na meron. So the primary design class focus for analog IC ay para ma-achieve natin yung mga high linearity or low noise, high gain, and also yung wide bandwidth na meron. So, kung si digital IC may evolution din, meron din si analog. Ano po? The analog IC revolution class began noong early 1960s with the invention ng monolithic operational amplifier. Before this class, Building high-gain stable amplifier required many discrete, carefully matched components. The introduction po ng LM709, yun po yung yung first commercial monolithic op-amps, yung LM709. So kapag nakakita kayo ng isang operational amplifier na ganun, siya po ay first commercial monolithic op-amps. And later po naging na siya, LM741 chip. So baka kayo makakita sa susunod, kunyari naka-encounter kayo, no? So naging LM741 chip na po siya, provided yung mga engineers with a high performance, compact, and standardized gain block. So class, it allows the designer o yung mga nagde-develop, nagde-design ng mga microchip to easily build yung mga complex filters na meron, controllers, yung mga signal conditioning circuits, greatly simplify yung analog system design. So, sir, ano pong example niya? So, ang analog integrated circuits po ay, kunyari, op-amps like yung mga LM741 contains dozens of internal transistors. So, but the user class sees only an input and also an output. And also, kasama yung mga power pins. So, we are using the internal current mirrors and the differential amplifiers para ma-achieve po natin ang stable open loop gain, which is precisely control yung mga external feedback resistors. Because, class, fundamental siya para ma-build natin yung mga active filters, yung mga high precision instrumentation amplifiers through the analog integrated circuits. Next one is the mixed signals. So, the mixed signals class, before I discuss the mixed signals, bigyan kayong So, ang Power IC po, yung Power Management Integrated Circuit or the PMIC. So, isa siyang chip class na design para mag-manage at mag-control ng flow ng electric power within the electronic system. So, unlike yung mga logic chips that merely consume power class, yung Power IC, ang trabaho po ng Power IC ay para maging efficient yung pag-handle niya ng mga high currents, voltages na needed para ma-regulate or ma-convert yung pag-distribute niya ng power sa mga other components na meron. Like yung mga CPU, memory, at saka yung mga screen, ng mga monitor nyo, ng TV, po. So, yun lang po ang naisabihin ng Power IC. So, ano naman po si RFIC? RFIC is the Radio Frequency Integrated Circuit. Ano naman po ang ginagawa ni RFIC? Isa siyang integrated circuit na design para mag-operate sa mga matataas na frequency. Ginagamit siya sa mga wireless communication, like yung mga radio, Wi-Fi natin sa bahay, yung mga Bluetooth, yung 5G, These are also class high specialized analog mix chips. Ibig sabihin, analog siya na hinaluan ng mga mixed signal IC. Na nagre-require ng extremely careful layout para ma-prevent natin yung mga signal loss or noises within. At also, pinaperform din ng radio frequency pinaperform din po ng radio frequency IC yung mga front-end tasks para ma-convert po yung mga digital data signal sa mga high-frequency analog radio waves. At ma-convert din po yung mga weak incoming radio waves pabalik po sa mga low-frequency data signal na tinatawag natin reception. So, yung system on chip naman po or SoC, it is the ultimate form ng isang integration. So, it take almost class all the essential computing components, the central processing unit, the CPU po, yung mga GPU na meron, the graphics processing unit, and yung mga memory controllers, yung I/O interfaces, and also yung mga often RF and power management circuitry. And also, yung pag-integrate po natin onto a single IC die. Ang goal po nito ay mag-create ng isang functional electronic system sa isang whole package niya. Ano? So, nais din sabihin niya na this dramatically reduces yung size, yung power consumption, yung manufacturing cost, compared sa paggamit natin ng separate chips for each function. So, ito na po. Next one, we have the mixed signals integrated circuits. So, the modern word class runs on a mixed signal ICs because they serve as the translator. Bakit po? Because it is between the analog world class and the digital computers. We find this chip class the most challenging to design. Why? Because we are going to integrate and isolate yung two very different worlds. The sensitive, low noise analog circuitry at saka yung isa pong fast and noisy digital switching logic na nagre-require po ng separate ground planes and power distribution network on the same chip or on the same die. Ano po? So, kung pareho silang may history or evolution, meron rin naman po si mixed signals. So, mixed signal class, this category class gained prominence noong 1980s at saka 1990s as digital processing became fast enough para mag-handle ng mga complex algorithms. So, nag-create po ng bottleneck at the point ng data conversion. So, kailangan nito, the need for faster, more accurate analog to digital converter, yung mga ADC, yung mga DAC, the digital to analog converters, pabalik, drove this IC type. So, initially, yung two function were separate chips, but yung modern design demands class that we integrate them for speed and compactness, such as yung high-speed data acquisition systems and yung mga wireless communications. So, yung complete na SoC po for a modern smartphone is a mixed signal marvel. Mixed signal IC. So, yung SoC po pala ay for modern smartphone na ginagamitan ng mixed signal IC. Yung kompletong SoC yung system on a chip. So, it includes class yung mga digital CPUs, memories, but also it contains also yung mga high-speed radio frequency front ends, yung mga analog radio circuits. So, last for the IC is the 555 timer IC. So, ito po ay gagamitin natin sa ating laboratory 3, I think, ano po. So, ang 555 timer class is a classic highly stable IC because dinesign po siya para sa precision timing. Yung pong nakikita natin sa mga traffic lights, ginagamitan po siya ng 555 timer IC. Amazing. Ano? So, pag nakakita kayo ng yari, may mga kaibigan kayo, mayabang ako dahil ako ay aerospace engineer. At ako po ay nakapasa sa electronics, basic electronics subject. Magkakasabay kayo sa kotse, nakakita kayo ng traffic light, Bas, kinulbit niyo yung inyong katabi. Friend, alam mo ba, ang naka-embedded dyan, 555 timer IC. Oh, lakas. Paano nyo nalaman? Because, napag-aral namin sa basic LX. So, ginagamitan po natin ng 555 timer IC ang ating mga traffic lights. Ano po? So, the 555 timer IC class was designed by Hans R. Kamenzind. Si Kamenzind po ay pinsan ko na malayo.
Because po yung kanya pong lola sa tuhod at lola ko po sa tuhod ay magpinsan din po. Ang layo na pala. So, si Kamanzin po kasi, nirelease niya yung Signetics noong 1971. So, it is one of the brilliance invention at that time because simple siya at stable. Unlike yung mga previous discrete timing circuits, yung 555 timer IC po ay nag-ooperate reliably in 3 different modes with just a handful of external passive components. Low cost din po and high versatility made to an immediate success. So becoming the one of the best-selling chips of all time, ang 555 timer IC. Testament po siya ng isang good analog design. So, ang internal function ng isang 555 timer IC class uses the analog comparators para ma-sense po niya when the voltage on an external timing capacitor reaches around 1/3 or yung mga 2/3, ganun. Yung supply voltage na binibigay na isang supply, ano po. And then, uses yung digital SR flip-flop para ma-change yung state ng kanyang output. So, combination po siya na nag-aalaw para makagamit tayo or makapag-generate tayo ng accurate time delay or tinatawag nating monostable mode or continuous stable square wave oscillation na tinatawag naman po nating astable mode. So, ang example niya class, ginagamit natin yung 555 timer in a stable mode to create yung mga pulse width modulation, yung PWM signals. So, kapag na-discuss, kapag napag-aralan nyo yun kung meron pa kayong electronic side, sa advanced electronics siguro, dadaanan nyo yung PWM, yung mga pulse width modulation signals, kinokontrol po yung pag-charge at pag-discharge ng external capacitor with a variable resistor embedded to it. So, we can precisely control yung duty cycle ng isang output square wave which is perfect para mag-control ng speed ng isang DC motor or pagdidim natin ng isang LED. Ano po? Kaya minsan, may time yon. Kunyari, pula, 60 seconds na bilang, then magiging green. Ano po? Magiging orange muna pala bago green. Ano? So, yun. Orange ba or yellow? Depende. Minsan kasi, wala na silang mailagay na bumbi. So, next, we have the IC memory. So, discuss lang natin ng very quick ang IC memory. The IC memory po, we have the volatile memory, which is the RAM, and the non-volatile memory, which is the ROM. So, tinatanong yan, malimit, sa pag tayo bibili ng computer, pag tayo bibili ng laptop, yung random access memory at ROM, or read-only memory. Ano ba po ang pagkakaiba niyan? Yung RAM class, when referred to a volatile memory po, I'm talking about the storage that requires yung continuous electrical power para ma-maintain natin yung data. Ginagamitan po siya ng active data or yung information system is working on. Sabihin, the data vanishes the moment power is removed. The primary example is yung RAM na meron sa atin. RAM class is fastest and most crucial type ng working memory in any computer na meron. Alam nyo ba class, yung random access means I can read or write data to any memory location directly and quickly, regardless class where the preceding piece of data was accessed. Wherein I also further divide class yung RAM into two main types. Yung tinatawag natin yung SRAM, yung static RAM, at saka yung DRAM, yung dynamic RAM.
Yung SRAM class, ginagamitan ng maliliit na cluster ng 6 transistors, yung mga flip-flop, or each bit of a data. Class, kapag yung once a bit is written, it holds its value statically as long as the power is applied, class. Ang advantage niya po is that it is extremely fast access time, mababa po kanyang latency because it doesn't need refreshing. Tuloy-tuloy siya. Walang buffering na nangyayari. Ano po? So, yung DRAM naman po, ginagamitan po siya ng 1 transistor at 1 capacitor. Kung si static RAM, 6 transistors, si DRAM, 1 transistor and 1 capacitor. Per bit yun, ha? So, the bits value class is stored as the electrical charge on the tiny capacitor. Ang advantage po na DRAM, high integration density po na meron siya, that can pack billions of bits into a small area and much lower po yung cost ng isang DRAM. So, sa non-volatile or the ROM naman po, is where we store the data permanently. Embedded itself na these chips class retain their data indefinitely even when I completely disconnect the power. So, ang non-volatile memory class ay essential po sa mga system para mag-boot up at sa mga longer term file storage. The common categories niya class is yung ROM itself. Ito yung, alam niyo ba class, yung ROM ang pinaka-oldest form ng isang non-volatile memory. Historically class, we design, kunwari, yung data into the chip during the manufacturing process, it was literally hardwired pa. Once written class, the data could never be changed. Pero yung mga modern ROM ngayon ay ginagamitan na po ng very stable system, boot code. Sample class, yung initial boot ROM on a computer ng motherboard starts primarily class using the BIOS or UEFI process na meron. Ang pangalawa po na categories na meron ang non-volatile memory, yun yung mga flash memory natin. Yung NAND or NOR. Dominant po siya ng type ng isang non-volatile memory. So, next, we have the application of ICs. We have 5 different applications. We have the digital computing and data processing. So, maraming application naman IC. So, namili lang ako ng ilan na one of the major applications ng IC. First one, we have the digital computing and data processing. So, it is the most visible applications ng IC class where we perform yung mga logic, calculations, yung data storage, and high speeds. So, next one, we have the telecommunications and wireless systems. So, class, yung integrated circuit po, enable yung pagka-transmit at pag-receive ng mga modern wireless and wired communications by handling yung mga matataas na frequencies or signals and yung mga complex modulation schemes. So, nandiyan yung mga radio frequency transceivers, yung mga modems natin, network interface controllers, yung mga GPS receivers na I think may gagamit sa inyo sa final project, So, ginagamitan ng IC. So, the third one is the consumer electronics and multimedia. Plus, yung integrated circuit dito, power the entertainment and convenience devices we use daily para mag-handle class na everything from audio signals to complex video processing. So, kunwari dun sa audio and video processors, we use yung specialized ICs para mag-render ng mga high-resolution graphics sa mga gaming consoles. And also, para mag-encode or mag-decode ng video streams in a streaming media players. Diba? So, the fourth one is industrial, automotive, and the control systems. Dito naman class, yung mga ICs are crucial para mag-control ng mga machinery, mag-ensure tayo ng safety, managing energy sa mga industrial and transportation sectors. The last one for the application of IC is that we have the medical and healthcare technology. So dito po, yung IC ay nag-enable ng miniaturization and accuracy needed para sa mga modern medical devices, from diagnostic to implants. Like yung mga IC process large data streams. Ang process na yon is the imaging systems na meron. So, we are now to delve into the power supply. So, mas kakaunti na po to. Kapit lang kayo, class. So, power supply po is the history class ng power supply is essential because dito natin pinag-aralan yung isa dito sa history ng power supply, yung ating AC-DC, yung current war. Ano po? Ang una niyan class is the dawn ng isang DC in the chemical age. Early 19th centuries yun. Yung first functional power supply class was the chemical battery. Sir, ibig sabihin pala, yung power supply noon ay hindi itself battery na, chemical battery siya. Ano po? So, batteries class provided inherently stable or low voltage DC power but were limited sa chemical capacity at mataas yung kanyang cost. So, yung early experimental electrical devices such as yung telegraphs na meron noong unang panahon at yung mga simple motors were powered almost exclusively through the batteries. So the limitation was the large-scale application required massive or impractical battery banks. So sumunod po doon yung the AC and DC war at kinailangan natin ng conversion. Dito pumasok si Nikola Tesla. Ano po? Through the alternating current. So, the third one is that dito na pumasok si vacuum tube era. The first electronic power supply. Early mid-20th century na siya. Invention po siya ng vacuum tube or yung mga bulb na meron, provided that it is the first robust, reliable means electronic rectification. Dinidefine din po natin yung structure ng AC to DC power supply for half century. So ano pong naisabihin ng vacuum tube era? Rectification and regulation. We use the vacuum tube diodes para mag-perform ng rectification. At sa regulation naman po, ginagamit po natin yung specialized tubes like the voltage regulator tube and later employed sa vacuum tube triodes in conjunction with the transformers and large capacitor class to create yung first stable and filtered DC output. So the trade-off is that this linear power supply class were extremely bulky, napakalaki, due to the massive transformers na embedded to it. At malaki po yung kanyang capacitor needed para mag-filter. So they were also notoriously inefficient. Nagwe-waste sila class ng huge amount ng power as heat from the tubes and nagre-result class ito ng mas maliit na operational lifespan due to the tube burnout. Susunog po. Ano po? So, dumating na po dyan si solid state revolution and linear dominance. So, the invention of the silicon semiconductor diode and the transistor in the 1950s class was the single greatest leap through the miniaturization and reliability itself. And after po ng ating ICs, so silicon semiconductor diode, mga transistor, dyan na po ang pag-rise ng switching power supplies. While the linear supply class was simple and quiet, the drive toward energy efficiency class and portability in around 1970s exposed its fatal flaw, yung poor efficiency. This gave class yung rise sa mga switching mode power supply, the SMPS. So, the efficiency driver class, instead of dropping excess voltage as heat, engineer like us began using the transistor as the high-frequency switches para mag-regulate po ng power flow by rapidly also class cycling the power on and off at frequency up to several megahertz. And also, we achieved this through the conversion efficiencies ng around mga 80 to 95%. So, we have two types ng power supply. We have the linear power supply class and also the, what you call this, the switching mode power supply. Sa linear power supply po class, the linear power supply is the older and simpler na meron. So, it often used class for a sensitive application where signal class is integrity sa isang operation. So, the transformation, in terms of operation itself class, we have two, the transformation and the regulation. The transformation po, yung large AC transformer steps the high voltage down to slightly higher AC voltage than the final DC output. Sa regulation naman po, yung key is that the linear regulator which uses a transistor operating in its active or linear region as the variable resistor na naka-place sa isang series with a load. So, nice mong sabihin, si linear power supply po ay nagko-convert ng mga matataas na voltages. So, next po, ang trade-off naman po pala niya, class, is that low noise siya, fast yung transient response, simple yung design ng isang mga linear power supply, low efficiency, large and heavy po ang linear power supply, and fixed po yung output niya. And ang example application niya, class, is that yung precision ng isang analog instrumentation. Yung mga high fidelity audio equipment na meron, yung mga, ano pa nga ba? Sa laboratory, yung mga laboratory bench power supplies, where noise is absolutely critical. So, yun yung mga example application ng isang linear power supply. In terms of the switch mode power supply po, the switching mode power supply is the dominant technology today. It valued for high efficiency and small footprints. So, ang operation naman niya, class, is switching, trade-off niya po, linear po, ay low ang kanyang efficiency. So, small ang switching power supplies, versatile bang transient response. Ano po pag sinabing slower yung transient response? when the response time class to sudden load changes is slower than a linear regulator because yung kanyang control loop class has to measure yung pag-adjust ng mga pulse width modulation duty cycle. So, ang example naman po ng mga switching mode power supply po ay mga laptop chargers. Yan, yung mga charger ng laptop po natin. Yan po yung switch mode power supply. Yung mga LED lighting drivers. Yung mga portable electronic devices class na yung size and battery life are paramount. At yung mga PC power supplies natin, yung mga ATX, switch mode power po yun, of the power supply. So I think dalawa na lang to, at tatlo na lang. Stages, equipment, and application. So sa stages po, first we have the transformation para ma-address po yung two critical issues ng dangerous high AC voltage and safely isolating class yung mga low voltage electronics electromagnetic. So isolation, the electrical separation class between yung primary and the secondary coils is essential sa isolation. So for today's example class, kapag kunwari sa transformation and isolation, kapag po nag-plug tayo ng laptop charger sa isang wall, the brick itself class contains a small high-frequency transformer. So yung job niya po ay yung AC wall voltage class, i-step down niya po at more manageable 18 volts yung AC. While ensuring class yung 18 volts na yon na completely isolated from the 120 volts line mismo. This is the first line depends ng isang entire laptop na meron sa atin through the stages ng power supply, the transformation and the isolation. Next one, we have the rectification and filtering. This is the second stage ng power supply, rectification and filtering. Diba, after natin class ma-step down yung AC voltage, we must convert it into a pulsating DC. So, ang ginagawa po ng isang rectification, usually done with a full wave bridge rectifier. So, 4 po yung diodes na meron. So, piniflip niya po yung negative part ng isang AC signal papunta sa isang positive side. So, itong pulsating DC po ay nagiging smoother, ay filter. So, yung filtering po, ginamit natin sa mga large electrolytic capacitor as filters. China-charge po niya yung pag-peak ng isang voltage during the pulse and slowly discharges po yung mga load when we rectified the output drops. So, yung action na po yun, nag-i-smooth po yung ating large fluctuation. Yun yung ating mga ripple voltage. Into a rapid DC voltage. So, ano po example niya? Consider class, yung power board inside yung desktop computer na meron kayo. Yung mga ATX power supply. Once class, yung AC ay nag-step down, yung diode na nandoon class, kino-convert niya into a pulsating DC. So, yung massive bank ng isang filter capacitor takes the RAP signal and turn it into the primary DC or yung tinatawag nating bus voltage, which class might still have a small ripple but is closely enough to DC to feed the final regulator stages. So meaning, once yung AC voltage ay na-stop down, ang ginagawa ng isang full wave bridge rectifier po, kino-convert niya na into pulsating DC. So yun po yung second stage ng power supply, which is the rectification and filtering. The last stage po, the final and most critical stage is the regulation and stabilization. Because the rough DC from the filter stage class ay hindi po stable enough para mag-fluctuates yung grid noise at mag-change sa mga load current draws. So, ginagamitan po natin ng regulator circuit para ma-fix po natin yung pag-produce ng precise and constant output voltage na meron. So, sa regulation po, yung regulator actively senses yung mga output voltage. Pag na-sense na po niya yung output voltage, ina-adjust na po niya itself. Either by dinidissipate niya yung excess voltage linearly or ina-adjust po niya yung high-speed switching pulse para po ma-maintain niya yung steady voltage. So, yung stability po niya, mini-measure po yung quality na meron. So, sa example po, kunyari, ang ginamit nyong IC or microchip is that Raspberry Pi. So, meron kasi yung Arduino Uno, Raspberry Pi. Sa Raspberry Pi class, embedded yung Wi-Fi, yung Bluetooth. I think Bluetooth na ba? Wi-Fi din ata. Hindi ko tanda yung Raspberry Pi. Pero ginamit namin siya noon. Raspberry Pi class or a modern microcontroller development board class. Yung input might be 5 voltage DC from a USB port. So, yung may USB port siya, However, class, yung CPU core, nagre-require siya ng highly precise stable, around mga 1.2 volts DC. So, gagamitin natin yung IC voltage regulator, specifically a low dropout regulator or yung mga buck converter na meron, right next to the CPU para ma-take natin yung 5 voltage at makapag-produce tayo ng required na 1.2 voltage output. And kapag nakapag-produce na po tayo ng 1.2 voltage output, may ensure na po natin yung core voltage na hindi po siya magkakaroon ng, hindi siya magpa-fluctuate at hindi siya magkakos ng pagkasira nito or crashes. So yun po yung last stage ng isang power supply, regulation and stabilization. So, second to the last is the equipment protection of the power supply. So we have different equipment protection sa isang sa power supply. First one is the grounding. So grounding, it is the primary safety net providing yung dedicated and low resistance path for a fault current. So, dinidefine po natin yung ground as the systems or yung reference point. Kumbaga, voltage siya. So, critical safety role niya is pinoprovide niya ng as a escape route, ika nga. If class, merong dangerous high voltage inside a device, accidentally touches the metal, grounding class ensures that the huge current surge flows directly to the earth and back to the breaker panel rather than ng ground. Kaya mostly class, sa mga circuit or sa mga configuration, may nakikita kayong ground. So para po, ang tendency po ng ground ay ma-retain doon. Hindi kumbaga ay hindi po dadaan sa atin yung mismong surge ng isang current. So, in simple term class, think of a metal casing, yung mga microwave, yung mga toaster natin. Class, if yung wire trace niya ay na-touch yung metal casing, yung third or yung round prong sa power cord, ini-ensure po niya yung casing is connected sa earth. Because when the fault occurs, class, yung current instantly rushes through safe path, causing yung circuit breaker to trip and ma-prevent po natin from getting shock. So, yun ang nais sabihin ng grounding. Next one, we have fuses. The fuses po, simple. Component provides protection against the overcurrent. So, yung fuse po contains calibrated thin wires that designed para ma-melt yung mga current exceeds its rating. So, ang simple example niya, imagine class, may small glass or plastic tube, fuse. And you find inside an older car's fuse box or inside yung mga basic multimeter natin. If the car is stereo class, stereo short circuits na meron, yung tiny piece ng isang metal wire, sacrificing itself para ma-save niya yung entire wiring harness and yung battery from being damaged or catching ng fire. Baka kasi masunog yun di ba? So yun na sabi ng fuses. So sa isang circuit breaker, yung mga meron rin natin sa bahay, So yung circuit breaker class perform yung same overcurrent protection as fuse but is an electromechanical switch that is resettable. So, circuit breaker class works via two mechanisms. The thermal strip, ano nga yun? The thermal strip and the magnetic spectrum. Yun yung dalawa, two mechanism. The thermal strip and the magnetic mechanism. Alam po yung thermal strip nasustain niya yung overload ng like kunyari marami yung naka-plug in doon. So nasustain niya yun, yung thermal strip. Kapag magnetic mechanism naman, instantly trips during a sudden massive short circuit. So kunyari kapag biglaan, so doon nag-act si magnetic mechanism. So the fourth one, we have the TBS, so tinatawag natin TBS, extremely high energy voltage spikes. Ginagamit po natin yung TBS devices para ma-suppress yung pag-spikes ng mga current. So malimit class, I think sa mga malaking planta, so malimit katabi niya ang circuit breaker. So baka meron kayong ganito sa dahil kunyari, mayayaman kayo talaga. I think meron rin yatang TBS sa mga meron kasi minsan built-in na rin sa isang circuit breaker yung TBS, transient voltage suppressor. Kapag sobrang kasing taas ng pagbigay kunyari, pamula sa isang transformer sa labas, nagbigay ng kuryente papasok sa inyong bahay, biglang taas, yun yung kayang gawin ng TBS. Hindi kaya niyang isuppress yung spikes na dumating na kuryente. Hindi siya kunyari, sasabog bigla yung inyong yun ang laking tulong ng transient voltage suppressor. Po. So, last one for this discussion is that the application of the power supply. So, this is the last discussion for this evening, which is the application of the power supply. Sabi ng iba, yes, makakakain na. So, class, alam niyo ba, nung mag-start tayo, 6:30, kakatating ko lang din noon, galing akong field work, Pangasinan pa, galing akong Pangasinan. So, kakauwi ko lang. 6:15 ako nakauwi. So, start tayo 6:30. So, galing pang work. Sabi nung iba, nagkwento pa si Sir, pampatagal. So, kinukwento ko lang para, kumbaga, pare-pareho tayong pagod, kahit pagod ay nag-discuss pa rin tayo. Baka kasi sabihin, hindi nagdi-discuss, Mas magaling na yung marami kayong nalalaman kaysa wala kayong alam. So last one, we have the application sa power supply. First, we have the digital and computational systems. So sa isang digital and computational system class, yung digital electronics, the power supply itself provide yung mga precise low voltage DC na kailangan natin sa isang microprocessors and mga memory na meron. So next one, we have the industrial and manufacturing control. So sa industrial and manufacturing control class, in industry class, the power supply class provide yung mga robust and reliable power necessary para ma-drive natin yung mga motors, sensors, and control systems na meron. So the third one, telecommunications and lighting. So sa telecommunication lighting class, power supply manage the continuous distributed power needs sa isang communication infrastructure and sa mga modern lighting solutions. So sa mga LED lights natin, it requires DC source class. We use LED drivers. It is the specific type ng isang SMPS. So next, we have the laboratory and test equipments. Sa application naman pong ito, in research and development na meron, yung power supply class serve as the versatile tools para sa experimentation and para magkaroon ng precise measurement. So, kaya one of the application ng power supply is the laboratory and test equipment. The last one, we have also the medical and healthcare, almost same with the IC for the medical and healthcare. Because sa power supply po, in the medical field, in medical field class, we must meet the standards for reliability and safety. Palagi. Kapag kunwari, walang power supply, hindi tayo makakapagpagana ng mga MRI na kailangan. Yung mga sa amin, hindi tayo makapag-ano na sa EEG, electroencephalogram, electromyogram. So, yun yung mga dinidiscuss namin sa biomedical engineering. So, hindi natin mapapagana yung mga ganun kung walang application ng isang power supply. So, I think that's it. How amazing this day. We discuss the IC and the power supply. We are done with this topic. Walang katuwa naman because isang araw lang natin natapos yung IC. So, this is purely conceptual. The IC and power supply. So, class, before ko kayo i-dismiss po,